Welcome back, guys, to another presentation up to the time presenting interpenetration of solids. So what is the interpenetration of solids? Well, when one solid penetrates another solid, then their surfaces intersect, and at the junction of intersection, a typical curve is formed, which remains common to both solids. This curve is called curve of intersection, and it is a result of interpenetration of solids. So what we're really interested in is plotting the curve where these two solids intersect. And I'm going to highlight over here on the drawing that we're going to be studying where to find the curve. So the curve is right here, and that is the curve there, and that's the curve seen on the front elevation. But then the curve seen on the plan is in the form of a heart, and it looks something like this. And just as you guys can see it there. So these are the two curves that we are going to be interested in, right? That's the curve there, so on the front elevation, and then this is the curve on the plan. So those are the two curves there. What I did is I built a three-dimensional model to give us an understanding of how this is going to look. So let's have a look at the three-dimensional model. Now first, let's look at the angle that I was just referencing. If I take off the perspective and put this in its pure front angle, you would see it like this. This, again, we can also look at the curve. So I'm going to highlight the curve. I'm going to use a different color now at this time. And you're going to see me just draw the curve in around here like that. Nice curve like that. That's what the curve looks like from front elevation. Now let's look at the curve from plan. Let me just erase here. And the curve from plan is something completely different. All right. And this is what it looks like from plan around here. Yeah. Like that, something of this formation. But if we were to also look at it from a perspective or from an isometric view, you will realize that this curve, as we are rotating this, it looks like it wants to represent, it wants to create a heart formation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to intersect this now. So I'm going to go into this group and I'm going to intersect this face with the model, and then I'm going to hide so that we can look at the formation that was left there. From here, it looks like a circle, or it can even look like an oval. But as we look at it and rotate, we can see the heart formation that appears. This is what we're going to be creating today. So we're going to be creating this formation as these two solids intersect each other. Let's get out of here now and let's get straight in to drawing. This is the last time. I'm just showing you guys what the shape looks like with these two solids penetrating each other. So this is a cylinder and this is a pyramid, a square base pyramid. So let's go over now back into AutoCAD. All right, so let's start drawing this. What do we know? We know that the height is 70. So the height off of this is 70 millimeters. Goes up, and I'm going to use this as my center line. Yeah, just insert that into my center there. And we know that the square at the bottom is 50 millimeters. So let's just create that square now at the bottom. Let's see how we're going to do that. I'm going to go alpha line. And I'm just going to draw a square and then rotate it. So my square is 50. So that's 50, 50, 50. I'll close it by pressing C to close the shape. So I'm going to select my shape. I've selected the shape, and then I'm going to hit RO to rotate. Grab the shape at the corner. And then I want to rotate it 45 degrees. So I'm going to press Shift and then the less than symbol, type in 45 to get my 45 degrees. So that's my 45 degrees in, and my shape has been rotated. Now I need to move and place my shape in. So I'm going to place my shape right here for the start. That's going to move. And what do I need from this shape? I need these lines so that I can then create my triangle up here. Yeah. So once that's in, now I can actually move this shape. So I'm going to move down this. Just going to move it down. Come on. Move it down to there. Yeah. Move it down to there and give ourselves some space. Now I'm going to put in my distance of 64, which tells me where, which is around here, 64, which is this line right here. The square again is 50 millimeters, and then the circle I'm going to be working with is 40 millimeters diameter. So let's get back over here into AutoCAD world now, and let's do that. Offset 64. Let me extend my center line, which is my 64 line. Project that down. And then I need to find some distance, 25 millimeters up from here. I'm going to place this also into a center layer. Because what does this represent? This lets me know where my circle goes in. So these are important right here, right? This is the 25 millimeter that I just offset. So that tells me that my circle goes in the center of my circle is going to be on that line. All right. Let's continue this now. Let me just project the center line down here too, because this is the center of the shape. Transfer that center to center. All right. So at this point here, I know my shape is going to come up to here. This is my boundary line. So I'm going to offset 10 to give myself a frame line, and then another 10 to where the drawing will start. So I'm going to do that down here also to give myself a frame line down there. Yeah. So we know that this is the base for that drawing. We know that this and this, I can put those into layer 0, for those are my frame lines. I know that this is going to be the edge of where my cylinder stops, and this is going to be the edge where my circle starts. So now that I've established that, what can I do? I want to put in my circle now at this stage. So my circle is a radius of 40. No, sorry, it's a diameter of 40 millimeters. So that's C for circle. Come here at this point, start opening. We're drawing in radius mode. So I'm going to switch by pressing D down there to diameter. Now we're drawing in the diameter mode, so I can type in 40. That's my diameter there, 40. Now I need to move my circle and place it into position right here. Right, so that goes in there, looking nice and lovely. Let's find the center of my circle. Project my center line down like that. So I got the centers in for all of my shapes, which is very important. So I can remove this line, and I can transfer this line into a construction line at this stage. Yeah. So that's that. That looks good. So now let me just do this. Let me clean up this shape so that this shape is more understandable. Okay, so this is starting to look like the shape that is in our drawing to the left. So I'm breaking these lines here because these lines are going to be my outline, and I want these to be my construction lines that stop right here. So what I did is I just broke them so that when I put all of my drawing, when I put the shape into outline, those other lines would remain as construction, like what I'm doing now. Right, so that's outline, and the other lines there would remain as construction lines. So that's very important. So I've gotten that in as a shape. What I'm going to do now, I need to put in my information line here, which is going to be at 315 degrees. That's the same thing as a 45-degree line, but it's mirrored in a below region. All right, so what I'm just going to let people know what that is. This is a 45-degree. Actually, no, my 45-degree line isn't going to go right there. I need to move that. Why I need to move it? I need to move it and coincide it right here, because that is where things go perpendicular at this point here. So this, you gotta remember that. So let me trim here. Yeah, so this is where my 45-degree line is going to be, and I'm going to transfer this and put that onto the white layer. All right, so my 45-degree line is in, so I can then project points off my circle, come down here through the 45-degree line, and then connect them by making this perpendicular turn. Okay, so let's fill it here. I like to keep the drawing neat so that people understand what we're doing and they don't get lost. So I'm trimming at this stage. TR is the shortcut to trim. You just remove that, remove that, remove that, and then this, and this can go. So that means if that goes, this line comes down here, and then this is where all of this stops. You just connect these here. These would be my construction lines, and then this whole shape would be an outline. So let me just transfer that to outline layer. Good, good, good. So now the next thing I need to do now, after setting up the drawing, is I need to divide the circle into 12 pieces. Yeah, this circle gets divided into 12 pieces. So let me just zoom in so that we can all see. And then I'm going to divide the IV, touch the circle, 112. That's the divisions there. And at this stage, I am going to transfer and go over to my hatch layer. I like using my hatch layer as a secondary construction layer. Now, what do I need to do now? I need to send these lines, these divisions, down, send them through the information line, and then, yeah, send them through the information line, create that perpendicular, and when I do that, I'm then going to pick it back up onto the plan. So this is what I'm going to do, create my perpendiculars here. Let me just copy these into place. It makes no sense drawing each one of these lines. You can just copy, copy, copy. All right, so those perpendiculars are in. Let me clean them up here so we don't have too many lines on the drawing, just going through the drawing unnecessary. So that's in there, that looks good. Now the next thing we need to do, after doing that, we need to create small squares within here. But how are we going to do that? Well, saying that we divided the circle into 12 pieces, we need to project lines from this circle across to the elevation to hit this back line. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy all of my lines going through my points, and they must hit that back line there. That's 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I'm going to project this too. That needs to hit the back line, and that hits the back line. So what happens when these things hit that back line? They now need to go down. And I'm going to project lines downward to touch my midpoint, my center line here, creating that perpendicular. So I'm going to copy these around. So we're going to copy from there to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there. Well, at this point, I'm going to use the locations that they are here on this center line to create squares. So I'm going to just put some points there so I know these are the locations of where my squares are going to be inserted. So let's go. So I go CO to copy, and say we want a square. All these squares are going to be parallel to each other. I'm just going to grab these two outer bits, and I'm just going to put them into place, and then I'm going to mirror. So that's two. I think this is the easier thing to do. All right. And I'm going to transfer them now at this stage before I go any further over to my hatch layer, because I'm working with the hatch layer as a secondary construction layer, like I mentioned before. And yeah, now it's time for me to trim. So the bits that can't be trimmed, like the bits out here, we just erase those at the end. So don't worry about those if you're trying to delete those from off of the screen. You just have to erase those at the end, right? After the trim is finished. Right. So now we just delete these. We're just grabbing them. And then what are we going to do? We need to mirror this, because this is only half of the square, or half of the squares. So now we need to mirror. MI is the shortcut key for mirror. And then we select all of these here. Then I'm going to select all of these here. And I am then going to mirror. Start here, and it's a mirror from north to south. Yep. Do I want to erase source objects? No, because I want to keep that. So that's in. So that's how that looks. And once that's in now, this starts to make a lot of sense. Starts to make a lot of sense. We can then start to locate where things are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove these lines here right now, so as not to confuse us at this stage. And let's start. Let's start plotting this thing here. So we've transferred the construction lines down to the plan, and we've transferred from the circle over to the elevation, and we have divided the space, our space down here, we have divided. So now it's time to start plotting. So let us go with what we know. We know our top, which is the highest point, and we know our lowest point. How do we know? Because they already made an intersection right here. So I'm just going to place a point there at that intersection, and then up there. So what do I do at this time? I can safely project a line down. So this, again, this is the top point here. I'm going to project a line down all the way down here. And let me just go over here and annotate what I'm doing so that you guys following will understand what's going on here, right? So this is my top point here. I'm going to project that to there, because we know that's the top point. Then I'm going to go down perpendicular to where this top point connects with the center line, touches the center line, right? And then I'm going to make a point down there. So at that point down there, I'm then going to come there and create a point. What am I also going to do with the bottom, which is the lowest point? I'm going to put that in let's say in green, so that you guys could see. The lowest point is in green and the highest point is in red. So the lowest point goes in. All right, let me just go back over to my line. All right, it goes in right here. This is the lowest point of the cylinder, and then that goes down there. And everything lines up with the center line. Why? How do I know these line up with the center line? Because they all pass through the center line. And I am going to prove that now. I'm going to draw the center line in yellow, and I'm going to show you where the center line is. Center line is right here. The center line is right there, right? And both of them line upon the center line. So they are all projected from the center line. So let's now go over here back to the AutoCAD drawing and see if we can locate these points now that I've just set that up. So start here at the top, go across, it's my top point, and let me go down, and my top point interacts with my center line right here. So where that connection, where the intersection is, that's my point 1. Or what I will say, that's my highest point, which is in the red. Now let's look for the lowest point. So we can come here and project from this lowest point down here until it touches the red line. Right, so they intersect right here. That's the lowest point. Let me increase the size of my point style so that you guys will be able to see. Let me put these ones that I'm going to be working with into a different layer so as you guys can see. So I'm going to use a green layer, yeah, the dimension layer, just so as things would stand out. So that's my highest point and my lowest point in. Now let's go and see if I can find other points on this circle. So let's deal with this point here, which is going to be, you know what, I am going to label my circle knot this time. That's 12, and I got some text here that I want to, yeah, that's the size I want. So I just text that. So that's 12 there. Let me put that into my text layer. Cool. So now I'm going to copy this all around. CO is the shortcut for copy, and then I'm going to edit. Well, I'll save later when I'm finished this. So that's my clock face there, all done. So what I can do, I can actually identify what I have inserted so far. I've inserted points 12, and this is points 12 but here. So just put that 12 there, and that is 12 also down here. Right, and then this is 6. I'll change this to 6. CO copy, and then 6 goes up here. Right, so we got in 6 and we got in 12. So let's now work with 1 and 11. Let's see how that works. So let me just touch the number 1, and that goes down there. And the 11th line is going to be picked up from here. So let me just touch that too and go across here. And yeah, so then what am I looking for now? I'm looking for the next. Yep, this is the next square as we go out. So my points would be right here. That's a point, that's a point. So that would be, let's see, what would that be? This would be point 1, and this would be 11 back here. So this would be 1. This would be 11. All right. Nice and simple. Let's go to 2. So 2 and 10 work together. So let's grab the 2 line and grab the 10 line. Let's trap them as they go through the information line here. Select them, and then we're looking at the interaction with the third. Yep, the third square, which is here. So this is the interaction right here. Ooh, okay. Boom. Right here. No, that isn't on. That's not on the point. You just move this and put it there on the intersection. Right there. Cool. So that's 2 and 10. So that's 10 and 2. And over here will be 2. Okay. Now, let's move on smartly. We know that 3 is going to hit with the intersection here. So we can come down. So that'll be 3 and 9. Let me just make sure that I got the 10 and 2 in the right place before I go any further. And guys, once you're finished there, you can project these lines from these points upwards so that we can start to solve what's going on up there. Right, so as I was saying, we're now looking for points 3, which come off of here. Let's pause at that and let's put in the others. Let me do the others and then come back to that. Sometimes that's what I do when I'm actually dealing with these problems. So I'm going to go 5 and 7, which I know these have to be the second last, which is here. Because if this is the last for 6, which is at the bottom, the lowest point, I know this would have to be the 5 and 7 one. So that's the folder for 5 and over here for 7. So let me put a point there. All right, so let's transfer that over there. So that will be 7. That would be 5. That would be 7. Actually, did I get it right? No, actually, I did it wrong. Wrong. So let me just move that now. Now that I know that I move that. This is where 7 is. Yep. So that means then this would be where our 5 would be. 5. Yeah. So that's 6, 5, 7. Let's go 4 and 8, and let's go out some more. So 4 and 8, touch here, and touch here. So 4 and 8 would be on this and on that. All right, so I've seen my points. So that's point 4 there. Then this would be point 8. All right. So the only thing really and truly is 3 and 9 missing. And 3 and 9 is on. All right. So let's go now to the last one. So this is 3 here. This is 9. If I were to pull this out, and I were to pull this one out, we would understand that this is the 9 line, this is the 3, and both 3 and 9 go across right here and collide, boom, somewhere right here on the center, and then come down. So let's look and see what happens. Don't look at the top, just look at the bottom and see as 3 and 9. So now we're looking for also, if this is the 4th, we're looking for this. This is the square we're looking for, which is in between here. So where does this interact with the square? Somewhere right here. So this is point 3. So I can safely say this is my point 3. Right here. Let me just move that 2 down there. Let me just copy 2 over to 3. Let me just edit it now one time before I forget. So that's 3. And then now let us transfer this and zoom. We go all the way down here, and then this will be 9. Let me at least make sure I get my point in there, so that when I'm creating my spline. Right. So I think I've done it. Let me maximize the screen now so that I can see these things better, and I'm going to highlight all these points. I'm going to transfer these points to the green there, which is the dimension there, so that we can just have a look at where I'm going to be connecting my spline to. Okay. Right, so let's refresh this. So that's the shape right there. But before I do that, let me transfer these lines up. Now let's transfer. I need to get a line for 8 and 4. Yep, 8 and 4, they're lining up. 11 and 1 line up. 9 and 3. I need a line for 9 and 3. So everything is up, gone up now. So let's create spline. And I'm going to start here at 12 and go out to 1, to 2, 3, to 4, to 5, to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then back to 12. All right, so that's it there. So let me just transfer it to the outline layer. Max drop, connect. Good. Now let's see what's happening at the top now here. These lines need to come up some more, because we're going to be creating the curve at the top too. The 1 on 11. Let's get the 1 on 11 line. Touch that. That's the 1 on 11 line. So that is supposed to be right here. My bad. Let's bring that to there. Let's transfer the number over to there too, so that I don't get confused. So this is 1 on 11. 1, 11. All right. Let's go to 2 and 10. 2 and 10 is there. This is the 2 and 10 right here. 2 and 10. So that's the intersection right there. Perfect. Let's move that over to there. Let's copy this and change this to 2 and 10. 2, 10. All right, let's go. So we know 3 and 9. This is the third line actually. Third line, which is here. 3,9. All right, that's looking good. So I think this would be 4 and 8. Let me just confirm. Yep, that's 4 and 8 there. And then the last one will be 5 and 7, and we know 6 is already in. So that's 4 and 8, and that'll be 5 and 7. So let's change this one time. 4, 8. And this one is 5, 7. Whew. SPL. Let's close the shape. We go from 6, go to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to 12, and hit enter to close the shape. That's a nice curve there. Max drop. So that's in place, and that's that. And now this is where we can turn off some of these layers. So let's go on to my outline layer. I'm going to clear the screen over here, and I'm going to turn off some of these layers. Yep, and that's how the shape would look. All right. I need to clean this up, so I'm going to trim. And this line down here is going to be a dotted line. Why is this going to be dotted? Sorry, dashed line. Why is this going to be dashed? Because you're not going to be able to see this. This is going to be underneath this. Well, this is going to be hidden. When we look at it from just looking at it right now, you're not going to be able to see that. Let me just go over here to the quick properties and just change this to 0.5. Yeah, and actually 0.25, 0.25. Yeah, I like that. And then max drop that. Okay. So I think we have solved this. Let me just turn back on my hatch, my construction layers. Just look at it, and what I can do before I get out of here is to just hatch this and give it a pattern in there, right? So that we can see. Let me just give that hatch. Let me just go down here to pattern. Let me go J wood. And let's see what's happening here. Let me put that there into my hatch layer. So it's off. That's not a problem. Because when I turn on all my layers, it will be there. So that's the cut. That's the cut, and this is interpenetration of solids, right? UDP. Let me just change back my point size to 2 and refresh the screen, and let's just have a look. That's what we did today, interpenetration of solids. And I tried to create this cut line so that you guys can have a better understanding of the cut and how to actually go about solving this. And this is the information that we were given at first, which is a cone intersecting with a cylinder. All right, guys, I think that's it from me here at Up to the Time. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and you learned something from it. So if so, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. I'm out.